everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. And today on the show, we're going to be talking, continuing our conversation on how to build a successful high school program. And to my right is Coach Tony Perkins. And we're using your step-by-step instructional manual here, basically, right?
Yeah, we are.
And we do. We're going to have this, we'll have a link to this because I think it's interesting. You use a PowerPoint presentation here when you've done this in other places and spoke at coaches' clinics and things of that nature, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's been a few years since I've put this up, so some things have changed, but there's some good nuts and bolts, and I think that's what most coaches need.
Right? Yeah, because, and I think, as we've said before, as a young coach, what am I doing out here? How do I do this?
Yeah, like I was saying, I didn't know anything when I first started. I worked awful hard, but I didn't really learn baseball until I got around St. Charles County with Bobby Donahue and Terry Casper. They really helped me to learn the game and understand how to run practices and be efficient about how organization and going through the drills. And man, I really got a lot better hanging around those two guys. It's
interesting too, Coach, because you played ball, but playing ball is different than coaching and managing ball.
Yeah,
yes?
For sure. For sure. When you're playing, you just concentrate on yourself and what you can do, better, but you're not thinking about the next drill. What are we going to do? We're concentrating on hitting today. Are we going oppo? Are we going middle? Are we pulling? What are we doing? We're concentrating on bunting. There's so many different aspects of this game needs to be covered in practice that a player doesn't even think about. They just do what they're told.
Yeah, they're coming out to work.
Right.
What has Coach got for me today?
Yeah. And when I do it, I put up a practice schedule. My coaches, assistant coaches all get it by email in the morning. So they all know what's going on. And if they got ideas, which I'm open to, I can change practice schedule. But as soon as I get there, I post it on a dugout wall. And it's fun to watch them. They make a beeline for that. And of course, they scroll down to the bottom one where it says conditioning. You want to check out that first to see what they're going to have to do for running.
You feel that, don't you, Justin?
Yeah. But they know, what drills we're going to do that day, and we just pop. We just move right through it.
Hey, as always, YBMcast powered by Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. Make sure you get to their website, get your team registered today. Season coming up, got a lot of stuff coming with our winter workout tour. We'll be following Dave and Dave around to different locations, talking in the off season. So make sure, game7baseball.com. All right, Coach, we're in the segment here. We're in part 2 of this. We're in the off season program. You got your open gyms. You're looking at Wednesdays and Sundays.
Yeah, I don't like hammering guys. They need time off, especially if your arms, pitching wise. The main focus is to get the arms ready. I learned this years ago. I'd be playing some guys early in the Midwest Classic or the Troy tournament, and guys were letting their guys go, full games. They'd throw 90-some pitches, and I'm going, I'm not prepared to do that. I'm not ready to do that to a kid, if max 50. And I go, well, why? Why are you letting your kid do that? I get to know most coaches, and I get along with most of them. But they say, well, they're ready. They've been training, and their arm's ready to go 90-plus pitches. Mm-hmm. And I had to take a step back and reevaluate what I was doing, because now with the club ball, most all of my better players are doing off-season training with them. Mm-hmm. And that's something, that we've talked about. You got to know your kids. Where are you at? Are you 40 this week? You're going to be 50 next week. You're going to be 60 next week. And then you're going to shut it down. We have a dead week today, a week before the season starts, But, where are they at when they step in the door that first day, if I haven't seen them or talked to them? But because a lot of them feel like they have to come and see me, plus what they're doing with the club. And I always tell them, do not do that. That's just too much. You need to, take care of their arms. And they don't want to be thrown with somebody else and they come in and throw them with me. That's just too much, especially early. They need to have a well-rested arm. And you're building strength. They're lifting. They're getting stronger. They're doing their long tosses. They're doing the heavy ball work, whatever they're doing. they're conditioning that arm.
Right.
And me, if I'm not doing my job as a coach, if I don't know where they're at, and there are very few kids that do, potentially make the team that are not a club guy, that need that help or needs that area to come in and throw because they don't go to the club stuff, But
because they're on a program if they're in one of those situations, right?
Oh yeah. I'm a little spoiled because I'm older, but I know most of the guys.
And it's right.
Yeah,
but that's
I'll
because
call.
you've been around and you know them and you go, hey, how's he doing?
Exactly.
What's the program? And
I can call Todd Whaley, I can call Adam Jansen, I can call the guys at P3. I can say, hey man, where's he at? How's he doing? What's his velo now? What's your goals? What's his pitch count? Where do you want him at? Okay, so that I know, so we don't hurt the kid.
And I love that idea, Coach, and it would behoove a lot of the coaches in some of these areas to get to know these guys a little bit more and be able to make that phone call and say, hey, I know he's working with you. What's going on, right?
Yeah. The hardest part about this, we're spoiled. All these facilities are in St. Louis, so all the guys are doing it. I hate to say it, but our open gyms are going by the wayside just because everybody is working out all the time. The problems, it doesn't occur there. I mean, just as long as you can accept that. I mean, some coaches want you in their facility and mandate that. And sometimes there's a rift between parents and coaches and, it's easy. Let them do what they want. But smaller schools, that's a different story. I mean, they really, my son works with the prospects, and I know that there's kids that drive an hour and a half come work out twice a week. That's rough, but they're committed and they're trying to get better. But if you get, further out, in the smaller schools, number one, they can't afford it. Time frame is very hard for them to do too. So, smaller schools have got to be able to, you got to find gym time. That's the hard part too. And you got boys and girls basketball, you got one gym. I experienced that when I was at Brashear. If you're going to do something inside off season, it's going to have to be at 9 o'clock at night, before you can get into the gym, but that's a hard thing to deal with. But you get a week like this, you get outside, but you got to.
Do you think some of the like smaller schools, some of that are using that to build maybe relationship, team bonding a little bit more, maybe in that respect?
I think that they're closer at the smaller schools than they are the bigger schools. There's sometimes we'll have tryouts and I'll talk to my returning guys and I'll ask about a kid and they say, well, I don't know him. I'm like, well, maybe we need to introduce ourselves here. That's a pretty rough one because some of those kids are, it's a big school and the kids are quiet. They don't really know them. So we got to make sure everybody knows everybody.
So how does your philosophy, we're talking about drills here on down the road. How does your philosophy work into the drills you do during your off season?
No, it just, you got to make it count for your clientele. I mean, freshmen need just your basic stuff, and then the older ones, like I said, most of them are doing it in the club stuff. They know the drills they're going to do. They're going to do the one hops and short hops and backhands and forehands and do all those drills. That helps us. Just the basic mechanics things that you got to do over and over and over and over. I mean, it comes to a point during practice where, I'll just say, on the practice, I'll say drill work, 5 minutes. And each group, catchers, pitchers, infielders, outfielders, all have different drills that they're going to do. And all I can say is drill work, and they'll go get it done.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. And I expect that. And if they're not doing it and they're jacking around, we're running.
Okay. And I'm going to say this out loud. I know this is a tough thing, but our culture today, sometimes it gets into this. Can we still set that kind of expectation?
Oh, yeah. Coaches can do that. I can honestly say, though, I've really gotten softer as I gotten older. I don't run them as much. And here's the thing, too, and I tell the kids this, when we get into practices, they say, okay, if you guys get after it and you're working hard, we're doing situations, we're doing base running drills, and you're working hard, we're sprinting and doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we can be crisp throughout that practice, we won't condition. I throw that carrot out there a lot of times, and a lot of times practice picks up a little bit.
So is it and you kind of made mention, gym space. How hard is it to set up drills and things like that within a confined space? How have you effectively set yourself in motion through that over time?
You got to be creative, that's for sure. Well, we have one gym on our mezzanine, or one batting cage on our mezzanine. Every school has got different situations. I take that, I cut that in half, so there's 2 hit stations, and then I take 5 soft toss nets along the side, and it gets crowded. But you got to be careful. Some kids have been hit with a bat. But you got to try and, make sure that's spaced out and safe enough where you get, really, I got 7 hit stations. And when you get, a lot of kids, you'll get 50 freshmen in there. I mean, that's tough. And you got to give everybody a look, and you got to give everybody the work. And it's tough. And then when you get inside, I mean, it's hard. But the drill work, there's drills. I mean, like when I go to these clinics, I just got back from Arizona. I'm going to Chicago and then the one in Jeff City. I love hearing the guys from Minnesota, Wisconsin, those kinds of places that all they do is work inside in a gym, and those guys are just masters at indoor drills, and I love going and listening to them and seeing what they're doing. But you just got to be creative and use every inch of space that you possibly can, even if it's just bouncing a ball against the wall. Doing that, getting reps that way. Blocking catchers, and there's stuff that you can do. You just got to get it done.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So your staff present observing, we talk about these things, and we've talked with the Misha officials. You can go check out that podcast with Coach and all of us talking with them. But there's only so much you can do with the kids, right? Mm-hmm. There's only so many contact days. And until those things are changed, you talk about present and observing.
Right.
So you have to be careful what your contact, basically, right?
Yes. There's a lot of rules that I'm kind of fuzzy on, and I need to be better at. But most of the time we're in there, we're just observing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brutal at times. Because if you don't, I'm pretty good about throwing BP, and most of my coaches throw BP all the time. But if you have kids throwing BP, it's terrible. It's just, they don't do a very good job of it. And people
Some kids don't know how.
No, you're right. And
it's just.
And I'm not a big front toss guy. I know that's the craze right now. I really feel like the people that front toss can't throw the ball overhand. I mean, to me, I think every batter needs to see as many reps as he can with a guy throwing overhand. And
you see the ball.
Even if I'm sitting on a bucket and throwing it, that's me.
Because you're trying to pick the ball up out of the hand, right? Pick up spin, getting used to that visual contact, right?
Right.
And I agree. I think it's important with these things.
Yeah, but everybody does front toss. So, and when we do our drills and practices, and, I always say after practice, we have 3 cages outside, and I'll say, extra hitting's available, and it's interesting because you can, I'll be working on the field, getting stuff up, and I let them be. I let them hit on their own. If they need help, I'll be there. But, they'll all front toss there, and that's merited because you're saving arms.
Yeah.
I mean, you're throwing, those guys aren't in any kind of, throwing shape, to be able to come in and warm up and throw hard every day for 6 days in a row coming out the gate. Yeah, there's going to be arm soreness.
So then you got a guy that doesn't pitch throwing BP, and it's not good.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It is frustrating.
Hey, comment below, please. We'd love to hear your comments on this first section here. What you can do if you're a coach out there and there's drills and things that you're doing in the gym, throw it in the comment below. We'd love to hear what you have to say about all that.
Yeah, me too.
Last piece here, Coach, with this segment. We're talking tryouts, right?
Yep.
So that's always a difficult thing. That's always
it's hard.
You got all these kids. I love though what you got number 1 here though. This heard them on the first day. 3/4 mile timed run with sprints.
Mile and 3/4.
What does that do? Why is that there?
I did this a long time ago, and I believe in it. Most of my assistant coaches don't believe in it, but that's okay. I'm the head coach. But, if we run a mile and 3/4. You can tell the guys who are in shape and who have been training. I mean, your soccer guys win it every time, but if they're soccer guys, the basketball guys are pretty in good shape too when they come in because they've been doing it all the time. But some guys that have to walk. Those guys are probably going to get cut because they haven't put in the time, they haven't put in the work, they're not prepared. You got to be prepared the first day, and like. It's tough because in our situation, bigger school again, we have all the kids come in. We have 3 different teams. We have varsity, sophomore team, we have the freshman team. What we usually do is we cut on Wednesday. Say we start practice on Monday. Wednesday's the first cut, trying to get it down. Hopefully we can scrimmage a little bit on Friday and Saturday because you got guys that are POs, pitcher onlys. Or and they need to throw in game situations and need to get a look, get the radar gun on them, see where their MPs are. And then on Friday or Saturday, that's our final cuts. So you're looking at 5 or 6 days to make the decision. So, what we know about the kid before they come in is big. Had they been coming to the summer camps, we know them from there. Are they with the club team? Are they with a good club team? And are they playing on the best team? And they probably got a good chance to make the team. I need knowledge of each kid, of what they're up to and what their training has been. And if you run them hard the first day, you figure it out in a hurry.
I think that's such an interesting thing because then you're talking about your evaluation. Your evaluation starts with how did they show up? With what mindset are they? I love that. Are they prepared to come here to make the team?
Yeah. My evaluation, I talked about that too at a clinic. It's on our website if somebody wants to copy it, and people have copied it, but that's okay. It's 3-4 pages of data. And my thing is, the more data that we have, the better we can justify ourselves cutting a kid, and I'll put them on a spreadsheet, and I'll rank them, and I'll show them. I said, well, he was 26 out of 27 in the mile and 3/4. He was 25 out of 27 in the 60. That's facts.
Yeah.
How they match up and compare to other ones. And the more facts you have, the better it comes when a parent wants to talk to you. And that's fine. They want to talk. I get it. But it is the hardest thing in the world is to cut people. I mean, I know I got kids, and this has happened more than once, where they've not made the high school team, but they've gone on to play college ball. So that's the nature of the beast at Francis Howell.
Yeah, and I think that is the nature. You look at. I've heard that of other guys that wasn't there. I think there was a player here around this area made it to the majors who was cut like in his sophomore year.
Burley.
Yeah, Burley.
He got cut his freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah. So, but I think he was at
Jeff Cole.
But high school, where did he play?
Howell North.
Big school.
Yeah.
Situation, right?
And he matured later. I mean,
and that's the thing.
He was really, really small when he was younger, and he just stayed with it. And tell that story to kids at camp every year. A kid that get cut and kept going at it. That happens in my place too, where a kid will get cut as a freshman and make it as a sophomore. Or a kid gets cut as a sophomore, makes it junior. Junior gets cut, makes it as a senior. They stay at it. And every year is a different situation. I mean, is there a need? I mean, that's the biggest deal. If you need that kind of guy,
right? You
got a chance, man.
And I think that's the difference sometimes in some of the smaller schools to a larger school, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a one size fits all type of thing.
No. Every situation's unique. That's for sure. You just got to figure out how to get it done.
How many you keep on your roster?
A lot of it depends on number of POs I got. If I got a bunch of pitcher onlys, like last year I had 8 POs. So you're looking at probably keeping 4 outfielders because other guys can get in out there. You're going to keep about 6 infielders, at least 2 catchers, 3 being a bullpen catcher kind of a guy. You got to have those guys, so that's about it. I mean, I'm usually around 20. You don't. It's hard to keep kids that aren't going to play, especially if they're a senior. If they're not going to play, it depends on the kid too. You got to know the kid too. Is it what's his character? Is he a cancer? Going to be a cancer on the bench? You know, like why is he playing? Why come I playing? Coach stupid.
Yeah.
You know, that's you got to cut that.
Right. You can't have that.
No,
you can't have that.
But there are some really good kids that have worked so hard that I've rewarded and let them make the team. And that I tell them right up front, you will not play. But I know you, and I know your desire, and I know the work ethic that you have, is great. But if you want to get a uniform, I don't want to hear anything from you or your parents as far as playing time goes, because I'll get you in when I can.
Right. And you have to accept that.
Yes. But as long as you're straight and honest with them right up front, usually that's good.
Honesty is the best policy.
You think?
You would think. Do you ever, and I think it's interesting, hearing you talk, because you see some of these smaller, and I'm sure there are coaches out there going, wow, I'd love to have, 3 catchers. I have a bullpen catcher, because, you got the guy who's warming it up. The coach is over there warming them up, and stuff. And that's the difficulties, I think, that you see in the smaller schools.
Yeah, for sure.
You got 20 kids come out.
Yeah. When I was at Brashear, I took a rope and drilled a hole through a baseball and swung the rope around in circles. That was our BP. We had no cage. Did what you had to do.
I love that. That's creative.
Like I said, I was young and dumb, but getting something done.
Well, that's it for our preseason talk here. Coach, as always, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll be back with, we're going to talk in our next session about the beginning of the season and get your thoughts there and walk through your template there.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, please. If you like what we're doing, hit that. Hit the dinger next to it, because that's what we do around here. We hit dingers, because dingers,
Chicks dig them.
Exactly. And all you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. You hitters, hit them where they ain't, and we will see you next time.